Okay, welcome to my tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about rotations, specifically 8th grade rotations. Let's go ahead and get started. First of all, there's two types of transformations, rigid and non-rigid. A rotation, as you will see, is going to fall under the rigid transformation category because it does not change the size or the shape of the pre-image, okay? We talked about this in class before, and in my other videos I introduced this. So here we go. A rigid transformation, once again, is when the pre-image and the image are congruent. In other words, the size and the shape do not change, while non-rigid does not preserve the size and shape. It is not congruent. In other words, the shape is either going to get larger or smaller. Now, rotation is when you rotate an object about a fixed point, and you're not going to change its size or shape. Now that is again a rigid type. It's called a rigid transformation. In the old days, a rotation, as you can see, we would call it a turn. And there you can see the fixed point. For us, our fixed point is going to be the origin. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So here's the first type of rotation problem that you're going to see in my class. You're going to be given the coordinates of a certain shape. And in this case, we're going to rotate this shape, in other words, every vertice of this shape 180 degrees. Now, first thing you want to do is write the coordinate notation. And I told you guys in class, when you rotate an object 180 degrees about the origin, the coordinate notation is going to result in the opposite of x and the opposite of y. All right, so let's go ahead and list our first order pair. The order pair is 6, 0, which is our first vertex. And to come up with E prime, we got to figure out, okay, our opposite of x. Well, our x value is 6 in our pre-image. So our opposite of x is going to be -6. While our y, our pre-image y coordinate is 0. And so our y coordinate for the, for the image is also going to be 0 because, as we know, 0 does not have an opposite value. All right, next coordinate is the order pair 9, -4. And so vertex F, our x coordinate is going to be the opposite coordinate of our x coordinates. And so the opposite of 9 is going to be -9, while our y is going to be the opposite of our y coordinate in our pre-image. And the opposite of -4 is going to be +4. All right, let's go ahead and do the next vertex, which is G. And G prime, again, the opposite of x. X is 8, and so the opposite of x is going to be -8, which will be our new x coordinate, while our y coordinate is going to be the opposite of 11, which is the y coordinate in the pre-image, and that's going to result in -y for the y coordinate. And there we go. We just rotated our first vertices about the origin. All right, let's try another one. In this case, we're going to rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. So go ahead and write the coordinate notation. And in this case, since we're going to go counterclockwise is going left. So I told you guys in class that the y value is going to jump over the x value. And when it jumps over the x value, they switch places, but as it jumps over, it becomes the opposite. And so that's going to give us the opposite of y for our new x coordinate. And then the x value just slips right over, and it doesn't change its to opposite. It just stays positive or negative depending on what it is in the original pre-image. All right, so let's go ahead and let's rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin with vertex F. So F prime, the vertex is 5, -7, and our first coordinate is going to be the opposite of y. So our y value in our pre-image is -7, and so it's going to jump over, and it's going to turn positive, and that's how we get +7. And then the second coordinate in our image is going to be the original, the pre-image x value, which will be 5. And so we end up with the order pair 7, 5. All right, let's do vertex G. We got the order pair 11, -4. To get G prime, again, we're going counterclockwise. So the -4 is going to jump over, and as it jumps over, it's going to become positive, so that becomes +4, while the 11 value, which is our x coordinate, is just going to slide right over and become our new y coordinate. All right, here we got vertex H, the order pair 5, -9. In order to get H prime, our the negative 9 is going to jump over and become positive, become the opposite. And then the x coordinate in our pre-image is going to slide over and become our new y value. And here we got a rotation of 90 degree counterclockwise about the origin. Okay, the next problem we're going to do is going to be a 90 degree clockwise rotation about the origin. So let's go ahead and write our coordinate notation. And in a clockwise rotation, each vertex or each vertice is going to rotate to the right. So the x value is going to jump over this time. And as the x value jumps over, it's going to become the opposite. And so then the y value slips right over and becomes our new x coordinate in the image. All right, that's kind of tricky. Just make sure you remember I showed you guys some hand motions. Let's go ahead and rotate vertex G. All right, so the x value is going to jump over, which is negative 8, and it becomes positive, the opposite. And then our negative 3 just slides right over and becomes our new x coordinate in the image. Vertex H, we got the order pair negative 7, negative 5. So our x value, we're rotating to the right, so the x is going to jump over and become the opposite. The opposite of negative 7 is positive 7, and the y value is going to slip right over and take over the place of the x coordinate. Let's go ahead and do vertex I, which is the order pair negative 11. I prime, again, the x value is going to jump over, negative 1, and as it jumps over, it becomes positive 1, and then the negative 11 is going to slide right over. And last but not least, vertex J. We got the order pair negative 9, negative 8. J prime, again, the x value is going to jump over because we're going to the right. It's going to become the opposite, and then the negative 8 value is going to go ahead and take over the place of the new x value. All right, now let's go ahead and look at how we're going to do that when we have a graph. Here we're going to rotate the image 180 degrees about the origin. First thing we want to do is we're going to have to figure out, write down the coordinate notation. And as we know, the coordinate notation is going to be negative x, negative y on a 180 degree rotation about the origin. Next thing we got to do is we got to figure out each order pair. And we should already know how to do this. So just a quick review. Our x value is going to be positive 2 because we're going to the right. And then we're going to go up, and we're going to go up 6. So our x coordinate is the order pair 2, 6. And now let's go ahead and figure out what next order pair, which is y, which is going to be the order pair 7, 3, and z, for the sake of time, is 6, 2. All right, let's go ahead and figure out x prime, and the opposite of x is going to be our new x coordinate, so the opposite of 2 is negative 2, and the opposite of y, which is positive 6, is going to be negative 6. And let's go ahead and quickly fill in for y prime. The opposite of 7 is negative 7, and the opposite of 3 is negative 3. Z prime, the opposite of 6 is negative 6, and the opposite of 2 is negative 2. Next thing we got to do is we got to take these new coordinates and we have to plot them. And so here's x prime, which is the order pair negative 2, negative 6. Y prime, the order pair negative 7, negative 3. Connect your order pairs as you go, or your vertices as you go. Z prime is the order pair negative 6, negative 2. And that's our three shapes. And here we got a rotation about the origin 180 degrees. And as you can see, they are in different they're on opposite quadrants, which is a half turn basically. All right, let's go ahead and do a 90 degree clockwise rotation about the origin. Write the coordinate notation. Clockwise, we're going to go to the right, so the x value is going to jump over, become the opposite, and the y value is going to slip right over, and we end up with a coordinate notation of y, negative x. Let's go ahead and figure out our vertices. I'm just going to do it quickly for the sake of time. G is negative 5 to the left. There's our x value, and we're going to go down 3, and so that's a y coordinate negative 3. And h, we're going to go ahead and just write it down as the order pair 0. And since we don't move left or right, the x value is 0, but we're going to go down 1, and that's a y value coordinate of negative 1. And then I is the order pair negative 1, negative 4. All right, let's go ahead and figure out g prime. We are going clockwise, so we're going to go to the right. And so the x value jumps over, becomes the positive, and the y coordinate slips right over and becomes a new x coordinate. H prime, we're going to go clockwise, so we're going to go to the right. And we end up with the order pair negative 1, 0 for the sake of time. And I prime, our x value is going to jump over, become the opposite, and our y value is going to become our new x coordinate, so we end up with the order pair -4, +1. And now we're going to take these new coordinates that we rotated clockwise about the origin 90 degrees, and we're going to plot them. There's G prime, the order pair -3, 5, H prime, which is the order pair -1, 0, which is -1 on the x coordinate, and 0 on the y because we do not go up or down. Connect those. H prime is -4, +1, and here we have a rotation 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. Now during class I showed you guys how you guys can check your answers by basically flipping your paper clockwise. You're going to flip it a quarter turn to the right and turn it back a quarter turn, and you should be able to see the exact same images. All right, last image here, 90 degree counterclockwise. So we're going to go to the left. Let's write our coordinate notation. We're going to the left, so the y value is going to jump over, become the opposite, and the x value is going to slip right over. All right, let's go ahead and figure out our coordinates for each vertex. I'm just going to go ahead and label them fast. Here's S, we got T, and then last but not least, U. And then we're going to use the coordinate notation to come up with the image after you rotate each vertex 90 degrees counterclockwise. All right, here we're going to go counterclockwise, so we're going to left. So the y value is going to jump over because they switch places, become positive, and the x value is going to slip right over, and it's +1. S prime, -1 is going to jump over because we're going to the left, which is counterclockwise, become positive, so that becomes +1, and the x value stays the same and becomes our new y coordinate, +2. T prime, again, we are going counterclockwise, so the -9 is going to jump over, become positive, and the 6 is going to slide right over. Again, as you can tell, they're switching places, but one of them is becoming the opposite. And here we're going to jump over. They're going to switch places, but the one that jumps over, in this case -7, is going to become positive, and we end up with the order pair 7, 1 for vertex U prime. And then we're going to take these order pairs and we're going to plot them. Here we go, S prime, very tiny, I apologize. Unfortunately, I got some overlap here on our images, I apologize. But you'll be able to see that the image, once you rotate it counterclockwise to the left, you end up with this new image. And again, you could turn the paper, in this case, a quarter turn to the left, and it should be able to match the pre-image that is down below in the 4th quadrant. All right, so let's wrap it up. Today, we talked about rotations, which is our type of transformation. And in this case, it is a rigid transformation because we end up with a congruent shape. And I taught you guys how to do the rotations using the vertex, the vertices, and using the coordinate notation. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you have any questions, let me know.